You know, I realize I haven't been doing very many thoughts videos lately, and that's for a good reason. I want to get done with the Chronological Bible so I can start reading again. Lord willing, the next time I read the Bible, I'm going to read entire books at once. But I do have a thought about 1 Timothy 4. I mean, this would be an interesting study and an interesting video to go into more detail on. But look at this, and if you're used to popping around YouTube looking for so-called Christian things, you see that this stuff is going on in what a lot of people consider Christian videos. The latter time some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits. Well, there's a lot of those. And doctrines of devils, a lot of those. Speaking lies and hypocrisy, a lot of that. Having their conscience seared with a hot iron. That is those who, I know somebody on YouTube, I actually have another channel that I point out, this one person who's a liar, very, very bad liar, lied about his family. And I've had people lie about me and my family. And that's because they've had their conscience seared with a hot iron. You know, and this is tied into pride of Christian belief. You know, I mean, as far as people thinking, you know, as the Pharisee. Remember the Pharisee that stood in the temple? Was it in the temple or within the synagogue? Next to the publican, and he said, it's amazing how it speaks it to, the Lord says, he said thus with himself. He prayed thus with himself. So in other words, he wasn't praying to God. I mean, God heard him, but God wasn't paying any attention. Just for the parable that was able to be passed along by Jesus. But nonetheless, the Pharisee said, I thank thee that I am not as other men. You know, and then he rattles off a bunch of sins. And then he says, you know, I do this, and I do that, and I do the other. I think that I'm not as this publican, the guy standing next to him. And the publican, all he said was, he smote upon his breast, and he said, Lord, forgive me, for I am a sinner. And God says, Jesus said that man went out of that place justified, but the other did not. In hypocrisy, speaking lies in hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. The hot iron could be their own pride that causes them to think they understand the words of God when they really don't. Forbidding to marry, and commanding to abstain from meats which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. Yeah, these folks that are like, you know, don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat the other. Yeah, I know man's monkeyed it up with all kinds of preservatives and this and that and the other, which, you know, could cause health problems. But God is the great physician. God said at the end of Mark, we could take up serpents and they wouldn't harm us. We could drink liquids that are poisonous that wouldn't harm us. That doesn't mean we foolishly grab hold of something that's poison and try to put a show on about it. God will let you drop dead, because that's your pride once again. But if you take something unknowingly, God can preserve you. And it'll be interesting when we get to heaven. Maybe there's been a number of things that we've taken and put our lips to and drank that somebody at a supermarket, some evil doer, put something in. Remember back in the day of what was it? Some sort of medicine that was monkeyed with in the 80s. Can't mention the name or I might get sued. So, but you remember that? That was a terrible thing. That was terrible. Okay, so there's my thought on 1 Timothy 4. We are in the end times, obviously. Don't need me telling you that. Just listen to the Word, watch the news a little bit. But let's listen to the Word more. We'll be going into part 1197 next.